So then you could say the only person I've ever lost to, which actually is probably cool,
is a 14-time gold medalist. So no big deal.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't make the story
and
that
he
much
beat me
better.
by a hair. I mean,
Yeah.
barely beat me.
Yeah,
so it means I would have been a gold medalist in most Olympic
Some
years.
people say I won, too.
Yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. We are here Sunday night, as always, ready to deliver Week 3, almost in the books. We're watching the Chiefs and the Falcons. My man is coming back from Big Ten football, traveling around the country. Ahmed is here. Another great day of action. We're going to hit all the games. As always, thank you to Lowe's. I am one of the greatest unprofessional or amateur swimmers in the history of the planet, just in case you were wondering what that is there. Only freestyle. That's my only event.
That's fine.
But good to see you, man. You're
Good
the
to
man.
see you too, Chris. Yeah. I felt like we hung out all day yesterday doing college football. And
Yeah,
we
we were just like 1,500 miles away, but we were together a lot.
So
Chiefs just scored.
So we will give you updates about a game that you already know. But as Chris says, you know the
all
final
these
to all these games.
Yeah. I put a little thing into you there. You're like, oh, damn, he's kind of right about that.
Yeah, but this one, you have something, homies listening to it. You have something on us here because we don't even know what's going on in this one that we're watching. So we'll keep you updated here.
It's good.
What just happened?
They just threw a touchdown, a short pass to Juju Smith-Schuster on a crossing route. Chiefs offense has really kind of been in a groove in the second half. Atlanta can't stay on the field as of right now. It's about to be 23-14 Chiefs with about a minute 15 left in the third quarter. Oh, I jinxed it. It's 22-14, and we're still in a one-score game. That was a big missed extra point by maybe the best kicker in football in Harrison Butker.
All right, so we'll keep you updated on that one. Lowe's knows home improvement.
Yeah,
Thank you to
do.
Lowe's once again. Chris, as he mentioned, knows swimming, freestyle swimming at least. And we're trying to highlight some of the YouTube comments because we have a good community on YouTube as well that chime in,
Big time.
give some questions. We're going to read them on Wednesday as well. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, drop some comments in there. This is from Sit96, Addy0 Vapor, which I think will be my password from now on. Very tough to guess. Of course, he's a good swimmer. He's got giant flippers for hands, which is very true.
It is very true. And to add to that, giant flippers for feet too. I am literally like the kid that when I was 12 years old, I had a size 12 foot. When I was 13, I had a size 13. When I was a 14, I had a 14, and then it stopped. Okay, but yeah.
How disappointed were you?
I was actually good because I was like, I'm starting to look like Ronald McDonald, and I don't like the way I look. And I was like, I would see videos of myself sometimes in baseball or something else, and I look ridiculous, like because I wasn't 6'4" or 5 yet either, right?
Yeah.
Growing into my feet. But yes, I do have some flippers on both ends of my body.
Size 14. So
size
you're
14. Size 14. That's right. Yep. I don't know what that means. You know what they say about big feet?
Yeah, I have heard that before.
Big socks.
Okay.
Where'd your mind go there? Did you go in the gutter, huh? All right, yeah. We're just talking about socks.
Worried,
Pete was worried too. His mind went to the gutter too. Look at
Pete's
him.
back there. He's like, he's running the ship back there. So he's like, I don't know if I can take this out, even if you go somewhere where
I can't delete and produce and direct this thing all at the same time.
Start over is what Pete is thinking there. All right. So our promise to you each and every Sunday is that we will go through all the games. And if you stick around to the end, we'll give you a couple words on the Thursday game.
You know it.
As well, we got Don't Count Us Out Yet. We got Give Me the Headlines. We got a TNF recap. We got a preview of the doubleheader coming up on Monday Night Football.
I'm excited for that.
But let's start out with the statement wins. And there was not a bigger the statement of all statements, I think.
Uh-huh.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Uh-huh. Right? We talked about this a little bit on the Wednesday podcast. I think this was one of your...
This was my buzz watch.
It was your buzz watch.
The other way.
And I said, it'll be the other way, too.
did.
And you were like, yeah, you're right. But either way, yes, somebody was going to be on the buzz watch in this one. And Minnesota, it was a statement. I think where I want to start off and just say is like, I don't think I've ever seen C.J. Stroud look as uncomfortable in a football game and off target as much as I saw him in this one. The game started with an interception. Not that he was bad on the first interception of the game. The ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage, popped in the air, interception, short field touchdown for the Vikings. Then Houston drives the ball a little. They miss a long field goal. So then Minnesota has the ball around midfield. They go right down and score right away. So right off the bat, it was 14-0 like that. And now you're playing in a game that it's hard to play in a game like that against Brian Flores and this Minnesota defense because now they feel like, oh, you'll get impatient with the run and I can do all my crazy blitzes all the time and all my crazy looks and drop into coverage most of the time, but then send a blitz every now and then. And it just felt like a day where, the Houston offense never got into any rhythm, all right? And it was the second week in a row Minnesota basically saw the same scheme. And what we learned is Bobby Slowick, D'Amico Ryan, not quite as good as Shanahan and the 49ers, but either way, Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell have the answers against this kind of scheme and how the 49ers and Texans play. Phenomenal win, and of course the offense looked good too.
If you were to ask us, who is the defensive coordinator operating at the highest level right now, you would probably say Brian Flores.
I think
right?
so. Yes.
But I was thinking, like, if someone were to ask who's the play caller operating at the highest level right now, you might say Kevin O'Connell.
I don't disagree with that. I think we're getting, you get into a short list of names there. You know how highly I think of Kevin O'Connell. I'm going to just look at some other teams. But you know what? As I look at it right now, I think you're exactly right. This is the hottest duo in the game. We kind of hit this last week. But I think as far as being hot hand calling plays right now, I mean, come on. I know that I've been one that defended Sam Darnold, but did I think it would look like this? And we're just going to dissect the 49ers and the Houston Texans and go into New York and be almost perfect that day. And I know the Giants aren't special. But, yes, there's the play calling on both sides, the play of Sam Darnold. Of course, the weapons. Just Jefferson's a star. Naylor has proven to be some really good third receiver. And this is where I think the Vikings are even different than years past. The last 2 years, we know they, 2 years ago went to the playoffs, right? Last year probably would have if Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt. They can run the ball this year. And that's where I think they're a little bit different. And I think that's going to really pose problems for teams. Because if they can just run a little, again, we know they're great at finding ways to throw the ball down the field, and there's no better recipe to get those big plays down the field than to get people creeping up at the line to stop the run.
So the two quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud had 0 turnovers during that 2-0 start. In fact, he had not been intercepted since Week 11 of last year, and so they did something that not a whole lot of teams have been able to do. It's their worst loss since Week 17 of the 2022 season, and for Sam Darnold, he is the only NFL quarterback this year with 2 or more touchdown passes in all 3 games. We have a few things we have. J.J. McCarthy tweeting afterwards.
I like that. Yeah,
Sam Darnold is good at football.
Yes,
and
he
it
is.
might be harder for J.J. McCarthy now to crack that starting. It might be a Michael Penix situation moving forward for J.J.
Either
McCarthy.
way, cool of him to do that.
That was
cool
cool
of him to give Sam Darnold. He understands how hard it is to get started in this league and be good at it, and he understands that Sam Darnold's been in some tough spots. I guarantee you the first day he got to practice, he was like, what? This is my backup? He throws the ball like this? This is scary. He's big. He's athletic. He's got a quick release. This is the backups in the NFL? What?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, again, we've talked about it, tirelessly as far as Sam Darnold and the career journey he's been on. It's great to see what we're seeing right now. And, yeah, they're rolling. They're rolling on both sides. It was cool to see Greenard get a little payback on his old team. Oh, you want Daniel Hunter, Houston Texans?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want me?
Daniil Hunter, yeah.
Excuse me? Well, I'm going to show you that I'm better and I'm not as expensive as he is. But, yeah that was cool. But, yeah, I think they're the hottest team in football. And I think the last thing I'll say, because I think we hit most of the main parts of what's in all of this, but, like, this isn't just like some, like, oh, they're hot or they got off to a good start. Like, I think we all have to start, like, this is real. This is real. This is not going anywhere. They're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. I think that's what I'm seeing. They've given me no reason to think anything other than that to this point now.
Which we should have known, actually. Looking back on it right now, hindsight is 20/20, of course. But it's like you add Grenard, you add Van Ginkel, you've added some dudes on defense, and
Aaron Jones at running back.
They were almost a playoff team last year with a disaster at quarterback.
Right. No, you're right. I think I underestimated them. I didn't give them the respect they deserve. And I think I probably got a little caught up in the Lions-Packers love and then even my Bears love with Caleb Williams. And I mean, I don't think we're wrong with them for Lions and Packers love. The Bears one, we definitely are.
But as a Lions fan, thank God the Bears are not what we thought they were going to be. At least so far. So far, because that division, we talked it up as all 4 teams could potentially be a playoff team.
Yeah, but they're not. But we got 3 others that are, and you're right about that. And I underestimated them. But great job by Greenard. Great job by Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. And of course, the coaching staff up there in Minnesota is really special.
And a great job by one other group. And for that, it is time for Home Team Help, presented by our friends over there at Lowe's. And that group, the Vikings fans, that place was loud inside that new stadium. Beautiful stadium, too. I was talking to people because I was just in Minneapolis.
Yeah, right.
We drove by it. Right. From the outside, it looks awesome. People that have been inside, they're like, it's the best.
I've been in it. It's cool. It's definitely one of the top stadiums in football. And I haven't been there for a Minnesota game. I was there for the Super Bowl. which was also incredibly loud. I mean, I can imagine how loud it is for just when it's all Vikings fans, because the game I was there was Eagles-Patriots. It's half and half, right? So it's not as loud. But Minnesota has traditionally been one of the toughest places to play in all of football. It's one of those where, as a player, you look at the schedule and go, wait, we got to go to Seattle? We got to go to Minnesota? Those are like the top 2 on the list when I think crowd noise will be a problem, and we're going to have to adjust our game plan on that day because of them.
Here's how loud it was.
Yeah.
Vikings fans, well done. There were 3 straight false start penalties against the Texans offense. Turned a 3rd and 4 into a 3rd and 19. So here's the game log of that. You see it's just like boom, penalty, boom, penalty, boom, penalty. And then you got CJ throwing incomplete to Nico, and then you got a punt right after that. So that was a stop by the Vikings fans.
It was. They were sloppy. I mean, when you take in the 2 turnovers by Stroud, and then you take on those false starts, and again, those 5-yard penalties, things like that against this guy coaching defense in Flores. Wow. I mean, you can't make many mistakes. You got to stay ahead of the chain, stay in power positions, and when you're not, it just makes life really hard because they're so creative on that side of the ball.
So for a while there, I was thinking, wow, Minnesota Vikings 3-0. That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And look at this, the New Orleans Saints 3-0. That's another unexpected cool story.
Yeah.
Well, that story never happened because the Eagles were able to come back. They snapped their 4-game road losing streak. That does include the playoffs. And so I turned it on late. Getting back from Minneapolis,
right?
And I saw
wasn't what you expected.
Oh, like 7-6.
Yeah,
I was like, New Orleans Saints don't score less than 40. I don't know what's going on right here. What'd you make of kind of the flow of the game, and then how the Eagles were able to?
I mean, it was totally a defensive struggle, and I think where I look at it too, and like defensive struggle in a game where the Saints at one point got down there in field goal range, went for it on 4th down. I'm going, we haven't drove the ball all game. Let's just take the 6 points. Do that. Either way, they'd go for it. They didn't make it, right? But it was defensive struggle. But I think here would be my headline as far as just the main thing. I still think highly of the New Orleans Saints. The offense obviously didn't get going. We know that today. And that's where my main headline with them would be, take a deep breath, Eagles fans. The Eagles, when I see the Eagles at their best, I just go, wow, right? Whether it's week 1 on offense and some of the plays they made against Green Bay and explosive they were, and even today, I worried about their defense. Their defense hasn't been great in the first 2 games, and I'm going, oh, man, now they got to deal with this offensive line, and Derek Carr's hot, and a great play-action passing attack. They were dominant today. They were dominant up front. The D-line was phenomenal. So I think that's the first thing. The potential of the Eagles, to me, blows me out of the water. Have they put it together for 4 quarters with both sides of the ball yet? No. But you see little tidbits to go, wow, this is like 5 series in a row. The defense looks amazing. And even though the offense struggled, once it gets going, you just go, wow. There's such big-time potential, not only because of the O-line. Hurts is damn good. We know A.J. Brown's not even playing. They had O-lineman hurt today. Saquon is a superstar, as we know, but it's going to be even more than what everybody's going to know because you're going to see with now he's got space, he's going to be unstoppable that way. So even though it was 15-12, right, backs against the wall, wasn't perfect, wasn't pretty, and Jalen Hurts is definitely turning the ball over too much right now, there is still a top-end play that I see from Philadelphia that I go, wow. And really, they should be 3-0. Come on, we know they should. They screwed up last Monday night, and but that of course probably a little extra fire under them this week to make sure they pulled this one out in the Superdome.
Well, you can say they should have been 3-0, and they should have won this game because there are going to be Saints fans that say, well, 3rd and 16, 3 New Orleans Saints run into each other. Dallas Goedert, I mean, the miracle
unforgivable.
of all miracles.
Right.
So how does that happen?
Yeah.
What caused that to happen?
It's 2 crossing routes, and Dallas Goedert had a phenomenal day. So I just want to say that, too. He was Dallas Goedert and Barkley. They were carrying the show, especially in the second half. Goedert made big plays, but crossing routes and that thing, what you saw from Goedert, was a problem for New Orleans all day. They had the right call there. Now, it was 2 little short crossers. I don't know if they wanted to pass it off, Ahmed, and go, wait for this crosser, you wait for it, or you stay with it. But the other part of it is they had the safety cutting across who was going to help on Goedert. And they all ran into each other. Like you said, Mo, Larry, and Curly looking ridiculous out there. And that ended up Goedert with a big play down the sidelines, and that was a big moment of the football game overall. But, I mean, an amazing game in general. It really was. I mean, for a low scoring, not a lot of points being had out there, Philadelphia was the better team on the field. I'll say that. They moved the ball more consistently throughout the day. But then again, found themselves down late in the game and answered the bell. And Saquon Barkley, of course, was amazing and squashing the Saints' hopes and coming back.
So Dallas Goedert, those 170 yards receiving, career high, 117 of those were after the catch, including 53 above expected. So next-gen stats would be like, we didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Good job, Dallas Goedert.
He's one of the better tight ends in football that probably doesn't get, those not the first names out of your mouth,
Definitely
right?
not,
It's not the first names, but it should be the second few names that come out of your mouth. He's not a great run blocker. That's not his forte. But in the pass game, as you can see, he can run. He's rangy. He's long. He adjusts to the ball. He's perfect for what they want in their offense. And, the game, it had a little of everything, too.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when the Eagles turned it over, Hurts throws an interception. He had a bad fumble. The defense held up. They let up no points with those short fields there. So that was big, right? One of them was down in the end zone, which was a bad interception by Jalen Hurts. I do think there were some curious coaching calls. Again, I'll say, you know me, I'm not into the fourth and one stuff. And especially in not games necessarily when it's like it's a field goal game. What are we doing here? The Eagles definitely had some fourth downs where, they could have kicked a field goal. They went for it right before half. That wasn't good. The Eagles did it again in the third quarter, had a good drive. They're in field goal range. They go for it. They're a little, I guess is what I would say, and this goes back to Monday night, and I said this, a little bit obnoxiously cocky at times, which isn't a bad thing always in football. But I think when you, like I said last week, when you go for the haymaker all the time, sometimes you get punched back in the mouth and all of a sudden you're on the canvas, right? And that's just what I worry about them a little. I don't think they need to take some of the chances they take, I guess is what I'm saying. I think they're so good that if they just continue to play, that their greatness of their team and what they are will rise above the rest and they'll find ways to win games.
They got dudes all over the field,
do.
even without A.J. Brown out there. One more thing we'll show you. It was Saquon Barkley. Still got the speed. He got those injuries back in the day, but he still got the speed. Next-gen stats with his top speed on that 65-yard run was 21.66 miles per hour. That is the second fastest play by a ball carrier this season and fastest on a run play. He was pulling away from the DBs there.
He is still
with the football.
One of the most, good at football and one of the most explosive players in football and one of the most fun to watch in space. And he is hitting the hole this year. I would say he looks like he's running angry. I think people in New York got on him at times because they were like, oh, he's running tentative. And I want to be like, well, when there's no holes, you're going to run a little tentative, right? Now he's got a little confidence and he's seeing holes and he's trusting what he's seeing and he's just hitting it full steam ahead. So that's what's great to see from him in general and what he's doing there. But I do think besides him, the star of the day was the Vic Fangio defense. And that's why I say do be patient. It's a new coordinator on both sides of the ball. We've seen some positives here in all of the games. Let's see if they can put it together going forward. But I think a big clutch win for Philadelphia on the road and it kind of erases at least the stigma or the bad taste in the mouth from last week.
Know who else was running angry on Sunday? Derrick Henry in his new look. New look purple. Looked about as good as he has in that uniform so far. Ravens hang on to beat the Cowboys, who tried to make a late comeback in that one. For Derrick Henry, 12th career game with 150 or more rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That is tied for the second most all-time. Baltimore outrushed Dallas. Get this, 274-51.
Incredible. And I'm going to get to that in a second. It's 22-17 Chiefs. And, there's the Chiefs. They're up. They had the ball. And they're playing with their food as usual, as Mike Florio says. They punt it, right? The punter, Ariza, makes a great catch.
Great catch.
Makes a great punt. And it looks like, he's going to be lucky. It looked like the returner for the Falcons fumbled, but I think his elbow is going to be on the ground, so they're going to be okay and retain the ball here.
Yes, and he was touched.
He was touched, so he's down. That should be it of that, so there won't be a turnover. But, sorry, and back to your –
I told Pete, too, for when we do this in the future, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah.
We just got Pete back there running everything, running cameras. Next week, he says, when we have a Sunday Night Football update, bum, 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 bum.
Oh, you're right. We got to get that.
So now, for this podcast, let's just say it.
Yeah.
We'll go bum, 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 whenever we do it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
You do it that way. Yeah, I think we should do it that way. The hell with the real noise.
Okay, Pete, don't worry about the sound thing. We're just going to do it that way.
We got this, because when we do breaking news, I do –
You're right. All right.
So you want to be the bump guy?
I'll do the bump da dum bum, but you got to point to me when we're doing it.
I'll do it.
Okay?
I got you.
Don't start without
That's our
pointing
new
to
thing.
me.
All right, let's not that up. Okay?
Back to what was a great transition.
It was.
Between great running backs.
It was.
And it was interrupted by a bump. Dallas has a problem here. So there's two things to talk about here.
Yes.
Dallas clearly has a problem stopping the run.
Yep.
And if you were listening to this podcast last year and then last week, you knew
You've heard this.
You heard that. But
Right.
I think let's start with the Ravens because you said it on Football Night in America. It seems like they found their identity.
I hope so. This is what they got to do. Right, I talked about it in a Football Night in America last week a little bit. Is like, what are the Ravens great at? I know they're good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take a shot at them. I'm just saying you got to be awesome at one thing if you want to win the Super Bowl. And then teams go, oh my gosh, we have to stop that awesome thing. And it opens up everything else in your offense. And they kind of seem like they want it like both ways. Like, oh, we're kind of good at throwing and we're good at running. That's great. But you need to be great at one thing or you're going to keep blowing leads in the fourth quarter or coming away unsatisfied with your seasons. And I think today, to run the ball, they had 60 offensive plays. To run the ball 45 times and to dominate the line of scrimmage like that, I think that one is a statement to your own team to go, hey, we're going to play this way and we're going to start creating an attitude and a new way of style of football here in Baltimore. And then I think the other aspect is they also look at it and went, Dallas sucks at stopping the run. Just like Chris Simms has been saying for a year to Ahmed Fareed on Unbuttoned. They're undersized in the middle of the defense, and even some of their big guys that are big, they're just not that good. Their middle linebackers aren't good. Their safeties aren't overly athletic, and they were totally exposed, let alone I think Mike Zimmer's defense is maybe a hair too basic for the NFL right now, and everybody kind of knows the book on him a little bit. So I think that's what to look for. But, yes, encouraging by the Ravens. And to me, the Ravens, like, I know they want to be sexier and throw the ball more and do all that. That's going to come. Just stay doing this. And all of a sudden, it's going to be Zay Flowers wide open for a big pass and Nelson Aguilar wide open. And everything's going to come to what you want. But when they stick with this run like this, I just think that's the best version of the Baltimore Ravens. And it's when Lamar Jackson's at his best as well.
Pete, do we have the stiff arm shot of Derrick Henry
that was
on
a good
Kalen
one.
Carson? I actually haven't seen this.
Oh, my gosh.
Add that to the history books right there.
Oh, man.
You do not want to be on the receiving end of that. I mean, no one's going to match up to that stiff arm.
He should you know how like great hunters put like animal heads on the wall, which I'm not a fan of? They should start putting like players' jerseys on the wall in his house of like, I ruined that guy in a game, right?
Have someone that does the taxidermy like you mentioned there.
Right.
Do like a mannequin of the head with the hand on the head.
Like he's got to get Josh Norman. He needs to have Josh Norman and that old famous clip
wall.
and some of those on the wall, right, in the pose of what he was throwing it. And be like, see, that guy, I figuratively killed him in a game once.
He forced 12 missed tackles in the game, did Derrick Henry, the second most by any player in a game this season. And watching him, I do think he's a little slower.
Yes,
and he's lost a little bit of a step.
Right.
But he looked quick.
It's still good.
He's still physical.
He's
still big.
enough. Right. And what you see is when they can create some holes for him or give him a little space, because this has always kind of been the MO on him to a degree. When you can give him a little space and he can get the train going, that's when it's like, oh, no, watch out, right? When he struggles is when teams get in the backfield and smother him before, because he's big, he's long, so he's not going to necessarily have the greatest acceleration and twitchiness that way, but he's a little bit more of a build-up speed guy, and once he builds up, good luck. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money to stand in front of him and tackle him once he's going full speed. But awesome game by him. I still am annoyed that their defense just, casually lets Dallas get back into the game and all of that.
Cody McKenzie, why does the Ravens defense fall apart once the fourth quarter starts? Play calling, bad conditioning. You've tried to examine this in the past.
I know. I think my biggest thing that I come to is that I think they just stop playing the way they play. I think they become a little bit like, hey, we've been doing this. We're aggressive. We're in Baltimore. We got all our crazy defenses, which I love their scheme. You know that. And I think they get up by a certain point and start going, let's be conservative. Let's keep them in front of us. And I understand that, but I think there's a balance there. I do think there's a balance, and you can't just play prevent or soft shell. You still got to mix some stuff into a degree, and hopefully you can do it tactically smart enough to where it's not like crazy aggressive where you're not leaving somebody on an island one-on-one and all of that. But, yeah, I think that to me would be, and I'll look at this film, but definitely jumped out to me today as I was watching it on TV and trying to watch some other games too.
So Devin McCourty.
Devin
McCourty, our colleague here, confirmed to Pete that he was never stiff-armed by Derrick Henry. He said the technique to avoid that is to swipe down before you tackle him. But the problem with Henry is that sometimes when you swipe, his stiff arm doesn't move. So it's just, I guess you
try to do that before he can get on you, right? You see the arm bars sometimes, and the defender tries to do that.
But it's like Looney Tunes where you hit the arm, it's like your arm, then you're sort of
you're like, wait, I didn't move him. That's not good.
Yeah.
Let alone his reach is usually longer than most DBs that are out there too, so he can get that hand on you in a hurry from a distance that I think kind of shocks DBs and people when they come up to tackle them.
How will Dallas win games this year?
Dallas is going to have to win games, I think, really through an air show. That's how I look at it. It's going to have to be Dak Prescott making unbelievable plays and throws like we saw at the second half of this football game. And, they might have to be one of these teams that takes chances on defense, tries to create turnovers. So what? We lit up yards. We're the 20th ranked defense in football yards. But we create turnovers, and we're one of the top turnover teams in football. I think that's what they might have to do. Because if they think they're going to play like normal Mike Zimmer defense and be sound and physical and do that, they don't got the Jimmies and Joes to do that. They're not talented enough.
It was like the Chiefs a few years ago. Isn't that what you said about Steve Spagnuolo? And they weren't a very talented defense like 3 years ago or something like that.
No, they weren't. And then he started to give them creative advantages, and he attacks an offense. And I think, again, that's what we talk about a lot on our pod, right? Defense is the day of we're going to play sound, perfect defense. That shit is over. If you don't attack the offense, some of these offenses are going to attack you and make you look silly. And I think that's what the good defenses have figured out. Spagnuolo, Lou Anarumo in Cincinnati is a guy that's very awesome with game plan specific. What you're seeing from the Chargers and Jesse Minter or the Steelers and what they do. They never let you feel comfortable. That's what a great defense does. And, I think Zimmer might have to readjust that game plan a little bit.
So Baltimore getting their first win on the season. You know who already has 3 of those? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They are 3-0. They take down the previously undefeated Los Angeles Chargers. 2010 was the final score here. This one, the Steelers' defense has been amazing. They are the first team since the 2009 Broncos to hold each of their first 3 opponents to 10 points or fewer. Now, there are a few reasons here. The Chargers lost Herbert.
Yes.
Right? And so we can talk defense, but we're a quarterback pod here.
You know that.
And so let's start with Gregorianism, who says to us, what are the odds that Russell Wilson never takes the field this season? Justin Fields is 3-0.
Yeah.
What are the odds that Russell Wilson just never plays now? It's Justin's team.
It's Justin's team.
Already.
There's no doubt. I don't know if you saw me on the pregame show tonight in Football Night in America. I did a little highlight package on Justin Fields. And the one thing I tried to come away from the segment is going, it's over. Stop talking about is Russell going to be healthy and he might start. You got a good football team. He plays a way that fits your football team. It's a system fit that way. He continues to get better and better in all areas. I think he's a highly motivated, tough kid who's trying to prove the world wrong and do all of that as well. He competes at a high level. I've always loved that about him. He's got a toughness and a never say die attitude that I really do respect. They want to be physical. They want to control the clock. He does all those things. I think he's learned to not make many mistakes and play that game too, as far as hey, I'll be a little conservative, I'll run. But the thing I like today too, he made a few throws, and this is where he's changing. Pocket collapses. He doesn't panic. He goes, wait, there's somebody going to come open. Throws a big laser touchdown to Calvin Austin down the middle as the pocket collapsing. I want to say last year's Justin Fields, the year before that, he'd have been like, oh, the hell with this. I'm out of here. I'm going to run, right? He had another play to George Pickens up the left sidelines. He left the pocket. 2 years ago, I'm out of the pocket. I'm out of here. I'm running. He left the pocket. He kept his eyes downfield. He stayed in the throwing position. He hit Pickens up the left sideline. They're running the ball with a little consistency in Pittsburgh. I think it'll only get better the more and more they use him, let alone the better and better they get at run game, and they're going to start to incorporate him more and more into this type of stuff. So, no, he's a starting quarterback. That's enough. He's 3-0. He's doing good things. They should not mess with that at all.
And the defense, even though Justin Herbert left, and so he left in the third with an ankle injury. I think he was in a walking boot afterwards, too, are the reports
High ankle sprain, but he got, high ankle sprains, I don't know if you've ever had one, but when you get one, it's like the slightest thing can aggravate it again. I could just, kick your toe like that.
Yeah.
We're just sitting here, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, and you'd be like, It's going to take 10 minutes for the pain to go away again. It's an annoying injury that is going to bother him throughout the season. Ugh. It's one of those that you will not shake. Even when he looks healthy, where he's still going to be like, yeah, it's still bothering me, though. I'm not going to tell anybody that, but it's still bothering me. Steelers defense, though, to your point, is awesome. Now, I do want to put a little disclaimer. They've played not the best offenses in the world.
Pump the brakes alert.
A little bit. I mean, I know they're going to be good. I'm not trying to say that. But right now, they're putting up numbers and looking like they're the 70 Steelers again. And I don't know if they're that good. They've had some favorable matchups. But either way, we know they're a handful. T.J. Watt, of course, is great. Nate Herbig, to have a guy like that as your backup outside linebacker. And, I mean, really, he's one of the better pass rushers in football. That to me is amazing. Great win by them. But, yeah, when you said it, when Justin Herbert went down, it was kind of like, offense is going to be hard enough as it was anyways. They were looking to blow Pittsburgh out anyways. It was going to be a 2017, 17-14 type of game. Yeah. And with him out, you knew that wasn't going to happen. And back to our question by our guy here, too.
Yes.
The percentage chances, Gregorianism, wanted to know about Russell Wilson taking the field. They're really low. I never really gave a definitive answer.
You'd say below 20%.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I think Justin Fields is going to take this and take it by the reins.
With no injury.
Right.
With no injury.
Right.
Say there's not going to be an injury. Would it even be lower, like 10%?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I think Justin Fields has got this. And I just, knowing things I've heard, everything like that, I feel like the team's going to rally around Justin Fields quicker than they were Russell Wilson. I'll say that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bump, bump, ba-da-da, da-da-da. Second and 6.
Second and 6.
Atlanta driving.
Of course, another game where the Chiefs have kind of controlled it, but they're on the ropes here wobbly. This is what they do, right? It's just status quo or par for the course.
Yeah.
They just had a 4th down. The Falcons converted that. They are now on, the 6-yard line, 5-yard line, 22-17, 4:20 left. Clock's ticking. And we'll see where it goes, and we'll talk about this.
The regular season is just too boring for the Chiefs. That's the problem. It's just like you're going to give Patrick Mahomes here, regardless of what happens here, 4 minutes. It's going to be,
yeah. It is. They're a little bit this way. They sometimes are. Yeah, the freelancing and doing stuff like that, man. They brought all-out blitz on the 3rd and 5. They threw it to Pitts over the middle, incomplete. The other aspect we got to talk, the drive before, they were about to make it really hard on them. They had a 3rd and 4. And he had Kelsey underneath, and Kelsey dropped the freaking ball. He kind of had it in his hands. He got hit. He lost it. Incomplete pass. So, yeah, they tend to do that. I give Florio all the credit in the world. He came up with the phrase that the Chiefs play with their food, and I was like, that is the perfect thing to say because that's really what they do. And we'll see. We're going to have a 4th down here coming up for probably the whole shebang, or should be the whole shebang. But I never want to say that with the Chiefs because they're the type of team that might throw the ball 2 or 3 times. But here we are, 4th and 5, trips to the right. Oh, they're blitzing again. They're bringing it. Oh, he threw it short.
Short arm.
Incomplete.
Chiefs will take over inside their own 10. About 4 minutes to go here.
Wow, I don't understand that. Kirk Cousins, of course, is a gifted thrower. One of the better pocket passers of our generation. But you got Drake London. He's 6'4". Throw it up. That was a bad throw by Kirk Cousins right there.
Yeah, that was to a 1-inch guy.
Good job with the sound, though.
We got it. All right.
Yeah.
We will keep you updated on that game. Packers and Titans. This was the Malik Willis revenge game after trading him about a month ago. 73 rushing yards for him, most by a Green Bay quarterback since. Are you looking at the rundown?
No, I'm not. I promise. Hold on. Longest since?
Most rushing yards. 73.
All right. Is it like in the last 50 years?
Yes.
It is in the last 50 years.
Yes.
Okay, 73. Most rushing. I'm going to say by Don Mikowski.
Oh, my gosh.
Damn.
You got it.
The Magic Man.
The Magic Man.
He's the only one that's been a running quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
But I would have thought maybe Brett,
I know.
Aaron would have broken
Brett,
one long
was the type
one.
that would be like, wait, I'm at the line of scrimmage. Somebody's open for 74. The hell with the run. I'm going to throw this in there. Oh, he's triple covered. So what? I'm still going to throw it.
LaFleur continues to dazzle. He is, for me right now, number 1 for Coach of the Year.
Good. He should be.
We've said that before, but it's just like the way he's able to operate and win and play at a high level with multiple quarterbacks in different ways. And what they've done here with him and Tom Cates tweets at you and says, when Jordan Love comes back, the Packers should install some plays that include Malik Willis. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know about that.
You're not usually a fan of that.
I'm not usually a fan of that. I'm not. I mean, Malik, you need to keep him healthy to be your backup for the reasons we're seeing here. In case Jordan Love gets hurt again, you're in good hands with Malik Willis. I think you're right. Why does Matt LaFleur not ever get the credit he deserves? I just don't get it. And then you talk about, they're not a one-trick pony. Malik Willis played good last week. I watched that film. He didn't make one bad decision last week in the game. It wasn't wowing. They didn't throw it a ton, and I know they didn't throw it a ton today. But he's doing the right thing with the ball, and then like you saw today, he can make some wow plays. This offense fits him, and they are a complete team in Green Bay. They are one of the better teams in football too. Their talent is everywhere, and they don't have to be oh, no, Jordan Love's not out. Oh, no. They're so what? We're a great running football team, too. How many yards did they run for today? 188. So Malik had big runs. He had some big throws. And then they got in Wilson and Jacobs, and they're a little sprinkled in reverses with Jaden Reed and all that. They got a great combo and a great running attack on offense. They have a great offense attack in general.
They're doing so many things to win ball games right now. Their defense, 8 sacks, most since 2004. 3 takeaways, a touchdown. They got 7 interceptions this season. They had 7 all of last season.
That's Jeff Hafley, right? The old Boston College head coach, the new DC. It's paying off. They definitely look more creative on the defensive side of the ball. Now, is it perfect yet? No, and I know they've let up some plays in some of the first 2 weeks or whatever else, but I do like the overall look. It's definitely in a more aggressive attacking defense. They got studs across the front line, and then they played a guy today who, in Tennessee, they can't run the ball all that well, and Will Levis is a turnover machine, and he throws the ball late into the flat against one of the more dangerous corners, and Jair Alexander, and he picks pick 6. And, I mean, really, when he got the pick 6 and went up 17-7, you kind of felt this one might be over with the way Green Bay was running the ball, and the defense had looked on the day, and they kind of just slowly wore them out from that point on.
If you get this one, I will just I don't know what I'll do.
Okay.
But, Xavier McKinney is the first Packer with an interception in each of the first 3 games of a season since 1978. Name this person. I mean, do you even a year before you were born,
well,
right?
It doesn't matter. I'm a historian. But man, the 1978 Packers sucked, so I don't know if I know much about them. Hold on, let me think about this. Hold on. Hey,
I don't even know.
Hold on.
Dun 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 dun.
It's 3rd and 2. 2:36 left in the game.
Mahomes.
What was that?
Ground.
He had 2 people open, incomplete pass. It's 22-17. I really don't even know what happened there. Xavier Worthy was wide open over the middle, and Rashee Rice was running a shallow cross. I don't even know which one he was throwing to here. So here we go. We got motion by Steele out of the backfield. It's an empty look. Kelsey to the left. They run. Oh, my gosh. There's 2 crossers. Somebody messed up. And so he doesn't know who's going where, and here they are, 22-17, punting the ball back to the Atlanta Falcons.
Here they go again. They're playing with their food. Will they eat their food?
They might.
We'll see what.
Yeah.
John Anderson was his name. I mean, I didn't even know.
Oh, no.
Would you have gotten that?
No,
okay, I'm glad
Thank
we didn't
you.
spend too much time on that. Yeah, 1980s all-decade team.
Damn.
John Anderson.
Damn.
I know him more as when he was the Sports Center anchor. That's where I
know
his
John Anderson.
career after the
career. He just
career.
retired,
He did.
John
I think
Anderson?
he just left ESPN.
Right.
Yeah, but I didn't know he was a
Hey,
Packer.
I love, just last thing on this, I love that the revenge story a little bit.
Sure.
For Malik Willis. I love, this guy's no good, and wait, he is good, right? He was a little raw coming out of college. He had a good preseason, and now he's on a team that fits him a little bit. Again, he is a down-the-field thrower. They're a down-the-field offense. That's where he fits perfect for a guy like Jordan Love to be the backup and be that guy. And I got to give Gutekunst, their GM, a lot of credit for seeing that and making the trade a month ago to get him because, of course, it's come in handy here.
A very well-run organization in Green Bay, for sure. We got much more to get to. We're going to praise some teams who got their first win. Rams with an epic comeback. That's all coming up next. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned, presented by our friends over there at Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Time now for the Don't Count Us Out Yet. The team's getting their first win, and I heard that the 4 biggest underdogs on this day all won outright.
It's incredible. I picked the 49ers to be one of my. Who were the 4 biggest underdogs of the day?
Rams,
Broncos, Carolina. Damn, yeah,
and Giants.
Oh, the Giants. Wow, that's why the NFL is awesome, right there.
So,
it is, and this maybe is to me the biggest shock of all of them. I'm not even lying. I know the Panthers stink, but it was the Raiders. I wasn't like, this to me was the shocker of shockers.
Because the 49ers were up, and Jawan Jennings was having a day, 3 touchdowns. Whenever he has a day, 49er fans got to get worried.
Lose,
this is this is not going to be good.
I know,
this
right?
Is Jawan Jennings day. Rams come back to win. Last second, Matthew Stafford, they figured out a way to do it. 27-24. This game was going on while you were doing Football Night in America, but I know you.
You know me.
You got one eye on the show you're doing and one eye on the show.
Actually, both eyes just on the game. And
you don't even care about the show
listening
anymore.
to the show. I'm just listening to the show.
So what'd you make? I mean, this is a Rams team beat up, and we're counting them out already,
right.
And somehow they figure out a way to come back.
I mean, it's incredible, really. They were getting physically dominated. This is where the McVay and Stafford and the attitude and just hang in there and be tough and keep hanging in there. This game's not over. And they prevailed, really. I mean, their first touchdown drive was ugly as hell. They were down 14-0. They faked a punt to continue the drive and then went down and scored a touchdown. So, coach gives team help to go score. Then they kind of just hang around. But when it went to 21-7, I'm going, well, San Francisco is going to just slowly beat them down from here because they're running the ball successfully. People are open in the pass game. But it was like in the third quarter, the Rams figured out the attack of the 49ers defense. And just like they always do, all of a sudden started to slowly pick them apart. With guys, you're like, I mean, we have people in the viewing room today like, who's playing receiver for them? I'm like, DeMarcus Robinson. The fast guy from Louisville, Tutu Atwell. That's what they were doing. But they started to put drives together. And the 49ers, we can talk about the offense. And, yeah, they had a turnover one time when they were in field goal range. The offense was really good today. To me, the problem is the defense. Yeah. You're up 21-7, and you just let the Rams stay on the field and kind of march down the field drive after drive in late moments, and we're not able to put the game. It felt like the Niners were like a breath away about 3 or 4 different times, sort of like ending the game or putting in the Rams in a spot where they're not going to be able to come back anymore. And the Rams kind of made that play or figured it out and kind of kept hanging around to where then they get the punt return late in the football game, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, the Rams are going to win the football game. Incredible. To me, that was the most shocking victory of the day because I thought the Niners would really, off the loss last week, would look like what I thought they would look like in the first 3 quarters and then just continue that. But they let this one slip away, and an unbelievable win by the Rams.
I mean, even with 4 minutes remaining, the win probability for the Rams was 3.2%. So it's like up until the final minutes of this game, you're like, yeah, 49ers have this.
They were driving. You're thinking they're going to kick a field goal and then put this away, and then Moody misses the 55-yard field goal, and that allows them to go get the short field.
Yeah.
And they scored, I think, a touchdown on that drive, if I remember correctly, or might have been. I think it was. It was they might have kicked the field goal on that drive, actually. I can't remember. Either way, they went field goal, touchdown, field goal to win the game late. And that was what put it away. But ultimately, I'm amazed by the Rams and their toughness and their willpower and all that. And, hey, second week in a row, 49ers defense has moments of looking good, but, big plays and big moments. Let them run the ball. Let them stay on the field a little too much. They had that problem last week against the Vikings, and here it is. It happened again against the Rams today.
4th and 5 at the LA 37 was the 55-yard field goal. You know what Dan Campbell would have done in that situation? He would have gone for it, and he would have gotten it, and they would have won the game.
Well, here's
that's
one thing.
That's the flip side of the. I mean, 4th and 5. It's not like it was 4th and 1 or anything like that.
No, and Shanahan is normally conservative, and I think there when you have a chance to go up 2 scores late in a football game like that, I'd have no problem with that decision. And Moody's been a pretty damn good field goal kicker, and got a strong leg. All of that.
Yes, he has been good.
So that's not the problem. But I will say with the 49ers, I'll be interested to kind of check this out a little bit, and just the fact of how did they play it on defense? Were they too simple? And are the 49ers one of those teams that we kind of just talked about a little bit? And you know this, I think about this with them anyways, where they don't do enough on defense. Maybe they need to attack a little more. Maybe they got to stop relying on, hey, we're talented and we're sound and doing that, and being a little more creative like we see the Chiefs be it sometimes, or the Ravens or whoever else. Maybe they need to take a page from their book in that way.
This is actually the Rams' first win after trailing by 14 or more points since 2012.
Wow.
That's when the Rams came back to beat Washington, who had tight end coach Sean McVay on the sideline. It all comes full
Shanahan
circle.
was probably coaching there too.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Wow.
Ben the Ram says, talk about how Sean McEffin-Vay stole the win, and Hernan Favela has chimed in as well. He goes, damn okay to Sean McVay. There's no situation too big or impossible for him. He made key adjustments to the O-line protection and play calling, he says, Hernan. Also, why is the 49ers D-line having a rough start to the season? Maybe that is something we'll have to look at.
It is. And like early on in the game when I was watching, I was like, oh my gosh, poor Matt Stafford. He's got no chance. He's going to get killed. He won't be able to make it through the year. But that's where McVay is awesome, and McVay's toughness, like I talk about with Andy Reid and the Chiefs sometimes, does not get enough credit. They are a physical, tough football team with a bunch of renegades, but that's where, like, he's got that crack the code ability like Shanahan, and maybe in some ways can be even more dangerous in game to make adjustments that way and start to go, wait. They're playing us this way, and I know the plays I want to dial up now. And then, of course, he's got the quarterback that can second him in that, get him in those plays, execute them the right way. And, Stafford, tough as hell. Kyron Williams, tough as hell, and just a great win by them overall, and defense way to hang in there.
Kyron Williams' second career game with 3 touchdowns. Dun, 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 dun. Kirk Cousins 3rd and 1. Hand the ball off.
Up the middle. Algier,
looks like
he didn't
got
get it.
Stuffed.
I don't know. Second effort. He's close, but I don't think he got it.
I think it's going to be 4th and 1. We're under a minute to go
We had a horse
here.
collar tackle by the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are doing it all right now. I mean, whatever mistake you want to talk about, they're doing it. The other thing today, too, with the 49ers game, as we go both here, 49ers, a lot of penalties today. I mean, a lot. 7 for 111. Now, they outgained L.A. 425 to 296, but with the penalty yards, that closes that gap in an incredible way there. But that was definitely a little sloppy. And the Niners, man, 1 and 2, I would have never thought that with this 3 games or the start of their schedule this year.
All right, good luck to us now with this game close with a minute to go here in 4th and inches. But let's move on.
Yep.
Because there's another shocking result in the NFL. I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I was talking up the Buccaneers. I was just like, even though the Lions outgained them, I was like, they're a solid team, maybe one of the best in the NFL. And then they go lay an egg. Full credit to the Broncos. Well done. Sean McVay. I'm not Sean McVay. Sean Payton. Too many Seans. 26-7 was the final. Bo Nix got his first NFL win. No turnovers. He had 2 in each of his first 2 NFL games. Plug and Play 16 says, hey, Chris and Ahmed and company. Damn okay, Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Let's effing go.
Yeah, it was the first time you saw Bo Nix look, what do I want, surgical, right? Comfortable. That's the biggest thing. It started right on the first drive. He made a few throws, and you go, oh, man. Whoa, they're in rhythm. Whoa, They ran a lap with Bijan Robinson, and the Chiefs, with the greatest quarterback maybe to ever live once again, are be looking like a defensive team in this year again. I mean, this was crazy. The defense. Big stop week 1, right, against the Ravens. Big fumble, touchdown against the Bengals.
Break it
so
down.
They try to run, basically they got a bunch of linemen to the left. They try to run outside zone to the left. And the Chiefs do a great job of setting the edge to where he can't get outside, and a hole opens up, and we talk about this all the time. Nick Bolton saw the hole and said, it's the only hole around, so it's the running back's going to be coming through here, and he hit the hole before Bijan got there and made the tackle for really about a 3-yard loss. They did a great job tonight of bottling up the run game. It's a pretty good run game. They're pretty well coached. They got a good offensive line. They're a little banged up there in Atlanta. They got 2 guys hurt tonight. But they did a great job of stopping runs, stopping the cutback runs by Bijan Robinson. And damn, Steve Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense, wow. What are they going to look like when the offense starts to look like, the offense of 2 and 3 years ago?
So Patrick Mahomes is trying to dance around there and take some knees. So we'll let this game develop, and we'll finish up what we did just start to talk about there with the Broncos and Bo Nix.
Yeah,
before I had to play the chimes.
Yeah, of course you
once
did.
again.
I mean, come on, we got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. So what'd you see from Bo Nix?
I like the guy that I think we expect to see, right? It's not going to be lasers and like, oh, what the most gifted arm ever.
Did Sean try to make things easier for him in this game?
That's where like it's hard for me to tell on TV Obviously, it was easier for him. He obviously knew how to attack the Todd Bowles defense, and yeah, it was the first time in 3 games where you saw Bo Nix string together completions after completion after completion, and the offense started to move down the field. Now, what else helps in that? And we saw this with some struggling teams today. When the other team has an early turnover and gives you the short field, and then all of a sudden you go, wait, we had a good first drive, and then we get the ball after a tip pass interception with Baker Mayfield, and now it's 14-0, and yet we're feeling good. We're moving the ball. Offense has got 14 points, and it got some positive mojo going that way. So he then, continue to be consistent and smart in the pass game. He made a few plays running the ball today. That was another big thing for him. And I think the thing that shocked me more than anything in this one, Ahmed, right? And not that I expected Bo Nix to tear up Tampa's defense. I mean, that was certainly a pleasant surprise. But as I sat there and watched.
Pleasant surprise for someone who called the Bucs just 2 weeks ago? I mean, come on. You have flipped.
Still, I like Bo Nix. I do like Bo Nix and respect Sean Payton. But Baker Mayfield, like I kind of talked about with C.J. Stroud, never looked comfortable today. I mean, never. And it was a lot of they have an aggressive passing game. They want to throw it down the field. And it didn't look like Denver and Vance Joseph gave him any opportunities to do that. Yeah. And it was a lot of double patting the ball. And by the time he ever kind of figured out, oh, wait, this guy might be open, he was getting hit or sacked or whatever else. It was a great performance by the Denver defense as well.
Yeah, they allowed 0 points on 5 possessions in the second half. So Tampa Bay didn't have a whole lot of chances to score and did not cash in on any of those chances. Tyler Beatty Tyler Beatty, I think is how you pronounce it here,
Big
out of
day.
Missouri, second-year guy. Yeah, 9 carries, 70 yards, ripped off of 43 yards. So some positive things for the Denver Broncos.
Hey, if they can do kind of what they did today, they don't need to be wowing in the pass game. Just efficient, right? Get ahead of the chains a little bit, run the ball a little bit, and just let this kid kind of grow from there. He's going to continue to get better at this Sean Payton offense. And then the defense has been pretty solid in all 3 games. You're certainly not looking at any of these games and going, oh, wow, Pittsburgh really moved on them last week. So they might got something here. And if they can just kind of weather this storm a little bit as their quarterback and offense comes along, don't count out Denver and don't count out Sean Payton ever in anything, because he is a fighter and he's a tough SOB too. But good job by him. And really another one where you go, there looked like they were really about to dominate the game, and Javonte Williams fumbled, and the Bucs went down and got a TD to make it 17-7. If it weren't for that, you felt like it was a landslide for the Broncos all day.
So for one final time, I'm going to do the chimes. Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da. It has gone final in Atlanta. They are filing out players walking off the field. The Chiefs have played with their food once again, as Mike Florio would say, but then they eventually ate it.
Yeah.
And they get the win by 5 over the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robinson, 16 carries, 31 yards. That is the average of 1.9 per carry.
They crowded the line of scrimmage. They look like they dared Atlanta in a lot of times to just go, well, we'll see. Do you want to throw the ball? Let's see. Do you think your guys can get open against us down the field? They played a ton of man. It did look like that. But a lot of 5- and 6-man fronts, creative, blitz a guy off the edge, have the defensive line slant the other way in case Bijan cuts back. I mean, again, a masterclass in coaching by Steve Spagnuolo and a masterclass in physicality once again by the Chiefs. This is a team in Atlanta that I think is pretty good up front on both sides of the ball. Kansas City won the battle on both sides of the ball up front. Kansas City ran the ball effective enough because, again, their pass game is not there right now to be like, oh, wow, or sexy or the greatest show on turf. Certainly not. And then there again today, they knew, this low line and Bijan Robinson, this is what it's about, and they stop it like they always do. They always answer the bell, the Kansas City defense. I have so much respect for their attitude, the way they're coached, and the way they play.
And for the Atlanta Falcons, I don't think this changes a whole lot. I think they showed last week they can play, and this week they showed they can play with the big dogs.
Yeah, Atlanta's got a lot to be positive. Kirk Cousins is only going to get better. It does stink about the offensive line getting hurt.
Yeah.
You see the defenses, they're a handful. They're well coached, right? Those guys in the secondary, A.J. Terrell and Bates and Simmons, are really damn good. So they got something there. My mind isn't changes about Atlanta being a possible playoff team. I don't think they're not, by no way are they out of this. So let's watch where it goes from here. They got the Saints this week. They got the Bucs the week after that. Those will be big games as far as the NFC South is concerned. And let's see if that Kirk Cousins in this passing offense can get better and better. That's the one thing I think you need to see more and more of, right? We only saw it a little bit at the end of last week's game on Monday night against the Eagles. Tonight we had a few moments, but it was very inconsistent throughout. And we'll see if they can become a little bit better there.
Is your mind changed on the Chicago Bears being a playoff team as they go down to the Indianapolis Colts, 21-16 the final score?
Yes, it has changed. Yes, definitely. I mean, Caleb Williams throwing the ball 50 times again? No, that's not going to get it done. It's pitiful. I mean, the fact that he's had to come into the league and they're basically like, wow, you got to carry us right away. And Odunze's going to be a little banged up, and there'll be no Keenan Allen, right? Odunze had a good day. You know, I know DJ Moore did, but to throw the ball and do that, he's not ready to carry them in that capacity like that yet. He's not. And again, he's not perfect. Yeah, he threw some interceptions. He makes some mistakes. He held the ball in the pocket a little long at times. But even with the Colts having issues on their offense, they're still more consistent than the Bears, and at least they can run the football. We've seen them run the football in 3 games in a row. That's for real. And with that on top of it, Anthony Richardson misses definitely 6 or 7 throws a game where I go, damn, the kid at Greenwich High School is going to hit that. But he also makes 2 or 3 throws where I go, I don't know if there's anybody in the league that can make that throw except for like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. So He does have that. It's a little bit of the gift and the curse. He makes 3 or 4 amazing throws every game, but he has moments where you just go, what the hell was he looking at, or how does he throw that ball right there?
That seems more curse than gift, though, at this point. Like, really.
Yeah,
you know
it
what
is
I mean?
more curse
it just
than
seems
gift
like
right
you
now.
talk about quarterback play,
Right.
and oftentimes it's about not making the big bonehead play,
Yep.
and not doing the Will Levis or the Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And so it's just like, it keeps
Still
happening
a lot
for
of bad
Anthony.
mistakes. It's not polished up. It's not going to get where they want to go ultimately with the way he's playing right now.
So I feel like both these fan bases are almost in similar situations.
Yeah.
They're just like, that game didn't feel great. You got 2 young quarterbacks. Both of them are like, it's early for Caleb, obviously, and he's a lot's on his plate. But you're like, I would just like some indication that we got the right guy here. Cody, the Colts fan, says, is it a mechanic issue with Anthony Richardson on why he is sailing these wide open throws?
Yes, it is. It is. He's best at really throwing balls aggressively down the football field, because when you throw the ball aggressively down the football field, you almost are forced to mechanically be good because you can't just go, wait, I'm going to do it with my arm or I'm going to flick it, right? So you actually have to wait, I got to get my legs into it. I got to turn my shoulder. I got to really create an opposite here to let this go. So a lot of times, that almost forces you into good stuff. It's the other throws. It's the bad crossing route he throws for an interception, or some of the interceptions he throws today are throws he missed in general. It's little touch crossers, or it's like I got to get it up over a linebacker and down into the 15-yard window. He has no control over those, and he doesn't know the proper mechanics. I've seen him throw the ball 3 different ways in the same throw this year, where sometimes he throws it really hard, then the next time he's like, I didn't throw that the right way. Then he fades away and tries to literally just flick it with his wrist, like he's shooting a basketball. And yes, those are not going to be consistent ways to be like a robot throwing the ball and a machine all the time like we talk about. And yeah, there are some mechanical things, and mechanics are more important on the short to intermediate throws, like I said, than they are on the 25-yard crosser sometimes, where it's just a window and you go, I can throw it as hard as I want, that's it. Or the deep post, you just go, I can unleash this, right? It's the nuanced throws where mechanics come in, and he's definitely not polished in that department.
I looked back at my notes when we were scouting out all the college guys coming out.
Right.
Latu, I was reading the notes on him, and it was like when they played USC, I go, he might have beaten every single one of their offensive linemen at least once. And I was like, and Caleb Williams is amazing because he was running free, and he was still able to get away from him most of the time. Was not able to do that in the NFL here today.
Got the big strip sack, right? Caleb made some stupid decisions and bad throws today too. But yeah, Latu coming around the edge. Caleb never saw him, hits him late in the football game. A little USC, UCLA crime there, and SoCal. But good for Latu, good for the Colts. The Colts have played hard and had a chance to beat the Texans, fought back, and barely lost against the Packers and pulled this one out today. But, yes, I don't like the Bears' offense. It's way too much on Caleb Williams. They can't run the ball, and I don't like their offense. I don't like their passing system. The Colts, I love their offense. Their defense isn't that great. They can run the ball, and they're creative as hell in the pass game. The quarterback just has to become more of a machine throwing the football if they want to win week in and week out. And that I'm not sure about yet. I'm not. So we'll see where that goes.
You're angry about that. Let's get you on a good vibes
I'm
again.
not angry.
Your G-men have won a game.
I'm happy now.
They beat the Cleveland Browns 21-15, the final score. This was the Malik Neighbors game again. He is now the first NFL player in history with 20 or more receptions, 250 or more receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns in his first 3 career games. He has hit the ground running. Remember it was five months ago when you were a hot take artist?
Yeah.
When you had Malik Neighbors as your number 1 wide receiver?
Right.
Remember you were just doing it for clicks?
Yeah, just
Remember
clicks. That's it. That's right. Now, like, literally anybody I watch games with every weekend are like, Malik Neighbors is awesome. Malik Neighbors is awesome. He's the man. He's the man. Malik Neighbors. It's apparent. I'm not a hot take artist. I just go with what I see on film. The guy's a star, all right? And this game started out like oh, my gosh, the Giants are horrible. They fumbled the opening kickoff. The very next play, they threw a touchdown pass to Amari Cooper, and you're like, we're cursed. We suck.
It's over.
The Giants are just horrible. That's it. And then all of a sudden came Danny Dimes and Malik Neighbors. And the one thing I love that the Giants are doing, and, this is a theme of our podcast or whatever, be great at something to make the defense have to start to defend that, and then other things open up. They're not great at a lot, but what they are great, Dayball and Kafka have gone, we know how to feature one guy, and we're going to feature him, and we're going to feature him until you do something on your defense to take him away, and that's what they've done with Malik Neighbors, and it has made their offense good, let alone their offensive line is better than years past. And they can run the ball to a degree, and Daniel Jones is not under manslaughter charges on a play-by-play basis. So that's the good thing about the Giants. Now, how good is Cleveland? I don't really know, and we know they got their own offensive issues on top of that.
Yeah, for Cleveland, I mean, pick a stat here. I mean, that's their worst start. They're 1-2, worst start in 5 seasons under Kevin Stefanski. 18 points or fewer in each of their first 3 games of a season for the first time since 2010. And this is the Cleveland Browns. They have been better recently, but we're talking. This is the Cleveland Browns here,
I know,
and they're still making history on this poor start. Yeah, like if you're trying to be like light at the end of the tunnel, where could that be for the Cleveland Browns?
Their offensive line's got to get healthy, right? I think, Wills played today. I think he might have gone out at one point. Conklin wasn't in there. There's no Chubbs, right? Nick Chubb. So
correct.
maybe when he, your silver lining will be, hey, our run game is going to get here eventually, and Deshaun Watson will play a little bit better, right? I think there's that. I still think it's a good defense, but I do think Jim Schwartz might have to reevaluate his attack a little bit. I do. It might be a little too overly aggressive, and I would say that maybe teams they're figuring it out. They're figuring out how to block some of his blitzes and some of the chaos he creates up front in the run game and pass game, and you're seeing some teams have that right formula for that. But, no, I'm worried. I mean, Daniel Jones played well, Malik played well, the offense, whatever. The story of the day was the Giants' defense whooped the shit out of the Browns' offensive line.
You're right.
I mean, whooped the shit out of them. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Thibodeau, you name it, they were all over the Browns. Deshaun Watson never got in a rhythm. I don't even know if he's really capable of being in a great rhythm. They couldn't run the ball, but the Giants' D was really the ones that held it down. And the Giants' offense did nothing really in the second half. Yeah. It was the defense that kept the Browns, who had a lot of good field position starts throughout the game, and didn't let them in the end zone or didn't let them get any points in general at all.
I kind of feel bad now. You're right. I pretend that we spent more time on the defense there for the Giants because they deserved it.
They were great today.
If you're counting up the minutes.
Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns everywhere. Hey, I'll give Deontay Banks did a good job in a lot of tough man-to-man situations. They blitzed. I mean, they did it all. They really did, and that was a big win for the Giants. Takes a little pressure off them. They got a big Thursday night game that I'm going to against the Cowboys.
You'll be there. Pete will be there.
We'll be there.
The whole family going to be there for you guys? Pete,
I'm bringing the
too?
whole fam. That's the only game I can go to as a dad and a fan. So I'm bringing the kids. I'm bringing my daughter's boyfriend reluctantly.
Okay.
We're all going.
All right. Pete is leaving the kids. He's ditching the kids.
He's smart.
Yeah,
He's smart.
The kids are smart. Your
my kids
grown.
are older. They're ready to go.
Have fun with that. I can't wait to hear about that one. We got to talk about that before you go on Wednesday. Panthers. Oh, can you believe it? They got to win. They beat the Raiders 36-22. You said not your most shocking result of the day, which actually is a little surprising to me.
I know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the most shocking.
I mean, the fact that they looked just so anemic, and it looked like they were clearly the worst team in the NFL. It's like, was this really just, Andy Dalton going in and throwing 3 touchdowns? Is that all they needed to do? I mean, what happened here?
Listen, new head coaches, new quarterbacks always give team a new vibe and a new hope, right? There's always that little, emotional bump from that. Let alone, I think, I know. The team knows Andy Dalton's better than Bryce Young. I'm not saying he's going to be better than them forever. I'm just saying right now. So that gives them right away, hey, we're playing the better guy, okay? I think there's also an aspect of, hey, with the other guy, we couldn't call some of these plays. With this guy, we can. He'll stand in there. He'll be a little more aggressive with some of the throws down the field, right? And I know you think I'm a Bryce Young hater, and I get it, and I'm not. I don't see it yet. And Andy Dalton, I think, yes, ultimately has a rocket launcher compared to Bryce Young as a thrower, and of course has more experience too. So he's got that positive. But yeah, I think he gives them a little bump, and he allows their offense and Dave Canales as a play caller to be a little bit more aggressive because he trusts them, and maybe he knows, hey, physically he can make a few more throws than maybe Bryce Young can.
I mean, this game was over. It was 33-7 in the fourth quarter. David Ogle wants to know.
I don't even know. It's crazy.
How does Andy Dalton's performance set the future for Bryce Young?
Yeah, I don't know where this goes with Bryce Young. I know everybody's talking about, they should trade him and do that. They traded a ton of assets for this guy. Yeah. We're just going to give up on it already?
But what situation outside of an injury to Andy Dalton is how would he be able to come back and be any better than he was? I mean, I know we thought we saw it with Jordan Love, and it's you can learn all this stuff.
Right.
I'm skeptical
hopefully
on some
they can kind of get in a role here at some point and start to establish an offense, and him just sitting back in there and watching the game, watching how Andy Dalton does things.
And they go, do that.
Well, you do sit there. I've been in these situations where you start to you sit there and you go, man, why was I making this so complicated when I was out there in the field? I was overthinking. I was in my own head. And sometimes those breaks can help you that way, let alone now the team can start doing some good things to help you as well, and that's where maybe it goes from there. But yeah, if they continue to play like this, he's not going to see the field anytime soon. It's going to take Andy Dalton's struggles again, and then they'll look for the time there to go, oh, wait, we lost a few games with Andy. He hasn't been great. Now we can put Bryce Young, and we'll see where it goes. But also, what kind of trade market are you going to trade him for a 5th, 6th round pick? I mean nobody's going to trade a high round pick for Bryce Young right now.
And at that point, you're like, what's the point?
Exactly. So you stay the course and just go, wait, it's not easy. We've not been good. We have not helped him. And we're going to hang in here and trust our evaluation and see if we can continue to develop him and get him to the player we think he could be when we drafted him.
Imagine Andy Dalton just takes off. He wins comeback player of the year and MVP. Like first player in NFL history ever to do that.
That'd be amazing.
He first guy to have 300 yards and 3 touchdown passes in a game this season in the NFL. Congrats to Andy Dalton and the Panthers.
That's crazy. And I saw, at the end of the game too, Aiden O'Connell came in the football game. Right, he did look good. I don't think it's time for Gardner Minshew benching or anything like that. But with the way that game looked today in general, yeah, I mean, again, I don't think his leash is terribly long there out in Las Vegas.
Okay, so we still have to give the headlines to the homies.
Okay, let's give them.
And we still got to talk about the Lions, and we'll do that right after the break. It is time for Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai, and for the second week in a row, we have not gone over these.
No.
And so we have 2 games. We've got the Lions win and the Seahawks win. We'll start with my Detroit Lions. They beat the Arizona Cardinals. Tough game. Players were going down left and right.
Yeah.
20-13 was the final score. Your headline for this one is?
Well, I'm going to go with peanut butter and jelly.
Okay,
all right,
good.
I'm going to go with that. Peanut butter, jelly.
Peanut butter, jelly
don't you
time.
Remember that
peanut
song?
butter,
jelly.
No.
You don't remember peanut? Like, I remember singing it in preschool. Like, it was like one of the first songs I ever learned in preschool.
That I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know the one that I just sang?
I have no idea.
current hit.
Is it?
To 10-year-olds. Yeah, peanut butter. Yeah, Pete knows it too.
Oh, geez.
Peanut butter jelly time. It's
I
actually
don't know that one.
Good
Okay,
jingle.
so
Now
I'll
it's
get schooled on that.
stuck in my head. Are you talking about David Montgomery and Jahmyr
Thank you.
Gibbs?
Exactly right.
Now,
the history they have
now,
there.
but you have been someone who says bench David Montgomery.
Yeah.
But no, you have been a proponent of more Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes.
But my counter to that is always like, if you're going to run the ball as much as the Lions want to run the ball,
Right.
you can't wear down either one of these guys.
Yeah.
You spread it around a little bit, and that worked.
They had it going, and bottom line is they did what we were bothered by a little bit last week.
It's like they listened to the pod.
I mean, it's like, hey, come on. Well, they're smart football players.
Yeah.
They're people in that Detroit organization. They looked at that game and they go, what are we doing? We got this great offensive line, right? And we're asking our quarterback to throw the ball 50 times a game? What are we doing? They got back to it right away today. I mean, as soon as the game started, I was like, oh, the Lions are coming out with attitude. They're going to run the football. There's no doubt. Watch out. Here they go.
They were going jumbo extra
They
offensive
were.
lineman.
Exactly
Dan
right.
Skipper kept reporting eligible.
And then he got hurt for 1 minute. And I was like, oh, no, what was going on? But yes, you could tell right away that their game plan was to get back to being physical, running football team, downhill, Gibbs, Montgomery. And then, of course, we know what happens after that, and we start to find some big passes in the pass game and the play action and all that. So that's what the big thing today is. But you said it. Like, one of the first things I went, man, running the ball, 2 tight ends on the field a lot, tight ends in the pass game. Kyler made some unreal plays. He did some highlight things early on and all that. But the Lions for today was the best it had looked this year. I mean, they did whatever they wanted, really, in the first half of the football game.
Second half, it got a little tougher for them.
It
was
definitely
like I was waiting
did.
for them
I don't
to
know if
ice
they took the
game.
brakes off a little. I mean, the gas pedal off.
They weren't converting the third downs.
That
It
was
was just
the
like they
problem.
couldn't get over the hump there until the very end of the game when they had a couple of nice plays and Goff
made the throw, or did he run to close it out?
Ran to throw it out, to close it out.
He closed
Yeah.
it out. He
Yeah.
ran.
Yeah.
All right,
So
good.
the Cardinals had a chance, but I don't want to make the same mistake we made with the Giants. The Lions' defense looked fast and good in this game.
Right.
It was like they had a bunch of ballers. Brian Branch, he had to leave the game. It looked like he might have had a concussion or even got knocked out at the end. That was kind of scary. But secondary was playing well. Carlton Davis on a crucial 4th and 1 when Kyler tried to get outside was able to chase him down and stop him just short on a review. And then, of course, you have Aiden Hutchinson. The defense looks much improved from what it was last year.
The defense is – I have no worries about the defense right now. The first 3 weeks, I was never worried about the defense. It was just like, man, what's up with the offense? Why do they look the same? What's going on? Why aren't they making as many explosive plays? So that's the big thing. I do think 3 games in, offensive line now, you get a few games under your belt. Again, without preseason, not playing, there is that added aspect, let alone the coaches are on you and all that. They're watching the film too, going, wait, we can't keep playing like this. So that changed, but I have no complaints about what I've seen from the defense. They're well coached, they're creative, they've been good in all 3 games. They gave the Bucs a tough time last week. They just made a few plays, but I think, your Lions outgained them by a significant margin last week as well. So loved all of that. I do. And I still think, this is one of the best teams in the game. And if they continue to run like that, that's just where it just becomes scary because Ben Johnson's going to be able to dial up whatever. And you guys are gutsy. I mean, the hook and ladder touchdown.
Oh, I love
that.
That
is the coolest play of the year so far. And a new way of doing the hook and ladder.
It was almost a slant ladder.
It was under ladder.
Yeah.
It was the under ladder.
Well,
you don't go under ladders. That's bad luck.
Not in Arizona apparently. You know me. I've been crying for the rugby revolution in football, and I was like, because you run that play. And then now you've shown that you can run that play. Yeah. Next time you're doing it, you fake the pitch and you keep it. And now it's just like you're in open space with some of these fast dudes that the Lions have, or any team could do it.
No,
I mean I love that. I hope
it was
they do
it was
more.
a great, actually simple idea that wasn't actually all that risky when you really saw it executed. You're like, wait, okay. I mean, we know we're pitching it back and it's a lateral, but the mesh and how they did it and the back coming out of the backfield and then going right down the line of scrimmage and what we call a halfback burst was really good.
Imagine doing that to Jameson Williams too.
I hear you. The balance is back in Detroit. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
They got the balance back between the run game and the pass game. We'll see where it goes from there. I know they're still one of the best teams in football.
Arizona has now lost 20 of their last 24 home games. I didn't realize it had been that bad.
Man,
and it did not sound like a home game at times. There were definitely a lot of Lions fans that made
not.
their way to Phoenix. Seahawks beat the Dolphins. This one was sad, kind of in the Mike and McDaniel game. It was 24-3. What was your headline on this one?
Well, it was up uphill battle, right? But the big one, the Zach attack.
Zach Charbonnet, 91 yards, couple of touchdowns. First Seahawk with 4 touchdowns through 3 games of a season since Sean Alexander in 2005. He was very good.
I think they're going to be able to run the ball this year. It stinks that Kenneth Walker's not in there.
Yep.
They came out on fire. They went on a lull of like, where'd they go? It's kind of like they got out ahead and they were like, wait, they don't have Tua. They're not moving the ball. We're going to win this no matter what. They let the Dolphins hang around a little longer than they should. They had to make a stop down inside the 10-yard line where the Dolphins went for it on 4th down. You're going, wait, are the Dolphins going to score here and make this 17-10? I mean, they look like they've had no chance. So I didn't expect a lot from the Dolphins. It's an uphill battle. We talked about Seattle to start the show. Playing in Seattle and Minnesota might be the 2 hardest places to play in all of football. I mean, Seattle's deafening. So that's never easy. And then you go in without your starting quarterback who, yes, even though I know I talk about some of Tua's flaws, he's still the man in this offense and is orchestrated and built around him and his skill set. So to think that they're just going to, we're going to throw Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle and look exactly the same, no. And especially against a guy that went, wait, I played this defense last year. This offense last year when I was the defensive coordinator at Baltimore, and we it up, and they scored like 16 points and we scored like 50 something on offense, right? He's had moments of knowing how to contain this whole attack by Mike McDaniel. Mm-hmm. So I didn't expect a lot. And honestly, the Dolphins, as much as they were tough and hung around, they looked like they were a team today that was like, we don't have our quarterback, we're not going to really win. It's not going to happen.
And then they felt like we lost. We don't have our other quarterback either.
I know. And then Skylar takes a big shot. I don't know if he hurt his shoulder. I think I saw something
injury.
Rib
injury. I think
landed hard on it. Nonetheless, but yeah, they went to Tim Boyle after that. I know they have Tyler Huntley as well, so we'll see where it goes. The Seattle offense, though, hasn't been perfect, but they have shown a propensity to make big plays.
Yep.
Right? I wanted to use kind of DK Metcalf in the headline, but I couldn't think of a cool rhyme to say it. Okay, He did have 4 for 104. Grubbs, their offensive coordinator, the guy from Washington with Michael Penix last year. I don't see college OCs come into the NFL a lot and go, wait, I got it. I could figure out all these defenses and blitzes and still be successful. He looks like he's got it. Moved the ball on the Patriots last week. We know week 1 was good. Today, still big plays. They look like they're going to be able to run the ball better than years past. We'll see where it goes. I know they're going to be better on defense because Mike Macdonald is creative as hell and one of the best defensive coaches in the game. So good
Mike
one for
Macdonald,
Seattle.
The first head coach, I love this stat, to start his NFL career 3-0 since Mike McDaniel in 2022.
That's great.
It had to be that way. And now you got the Seahawks and the Vikings, the last 2 undefeated teams in the NFC.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Give me the headlines presented by Hyundai. There we go. Good job, Pete.
Good job, Hyundai.
Okay, so now if you've made it this far into the podcast, thanks for staying up. Well, I guess you're not staying up. It's not live.
It's not live. Come on,
keep forgetting that.
Get your shit straight.
Thanks for being with us this long.
This early in the morning. Thank you.
Wherever you're listening or
your
watching.
Drive to work. We're hoping we're brightening your drive for work to take you out of the Monday misery of going there.
So let's finish with a look into the past and a look into the future real quick.
Yep.
Jets won on Thursday against the Patriots 24-3. As I was watching that game, I was like, yeah, that's the Patriots we thought we would see. Couldn't do much of anything, but the Jets had a lot to do with that.
The Aaron Rodgers was awesome. I tweeted during the game, and I was texting with one of our bosses and Matt Casey going like, you know me, I don't like the West Coast offense. I don't. I think it's outdated, and you hear all my things that I say about it all the time. A lot of these D coordinators know all the rules, right? But that was a masterclass in the West Coast offense on Thursday night. A masterclass. That Aaron Rodgers was so on point, knew exactly where New England was on defense, exactly where he wanted to look a guy off to throw a ball right on rhythm. It was like watching Montana and Young and the old 49ers. That's what I was going. Because I'm not sitting there going, wow, this is a cool play. I'm going, wait, I used to run this play a ton in Tampa. I know these plays. And I'm just going, wow. I mean, he's throwing it and making decisions so quickly that it doesn't matter what New England does. They're not going to be able to stop this. And that was what was encouraging. Let alone, looks like they can run the ball. We know the defense is talented and they're coming along. I was a little surprised the Patriots played it so simple on defense. That was what bothered me about their attack, right? It's the Jets. They don't do a whole lot. And to play it simple against a guy like Rodgers, I thought maybe they'd mix it up and take a few chances and have a better feel for what the Jets like to do and be able to take some of those things away and make life harder. But obviously that was not their game plan, and Rodgers tore him up.
And we got the Monday doubleheader. We got Jaguars at Bills. We got the Commanders at Bengals. So this is what's at stake. The Bills are trying to join the Chiefs, Steelers, Seahawks, and Vikings as the only 3-0 teams. The Jaguars and Bengals trying to avoid joining the Titans as the only 0-3 team.
Well, the 0-2 team seemed to rise up to challenges today. That's for sure, right? I mean, that's what we saw. That does worry me. Like, I picked Buffalo to win the game, but I am worried about, like, Jacksonville, yes, being, like, last gasp of air. Like, we got to win this desperation. That's real. I still took Buffalo 26-23. The other one, Cincinnati's the team that's 0-2. I'm not giving up on Cincinnati. Cincinnati outplayed Kansas City Chiefs last week. This is a good matchup for them, too, in Washington. I think that they will dominate this football game, really, and I'm going to go 28-17 Bengals in this one.
You're sticking by your predictions.
I am. I'm definitely
Chris.
sticking by them.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
And download the app. Use promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
They said we couldn't do it, and we've done it again.
Yes.
We've made it through all the games and even previewed the ones still to come.
Who said that we couldn't do it, though?
I don't know. You always got to have haters out
how
there.
Many?
Right?
The real thing is what did we say, how long we would go in the pod, and how long did we actually go? Because that's what we say. We usually are going to do it in a time, and we don't do it.
I liked 120, I think, is good.
I think we were about 125, maybe 130 today.
Yeah, they do insert ads into the podcast.
Oh,
YouTube,
you're right. It's
so
taking away a little time.
Don't put that on us.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday doing what we doing what I did best in the NFL, throwing pick sixes.
Oh,
We'll be back.
You
It's
only
all
had
right.
2 of them.
I know. Well, I didn't throw that many throws.
Hey, we should show them though, Pete. We probably should show if we have
rub
video.
them in a little bit more. Let's make that Wednesday segment a little bit better. All right. But yeah, we'll be back. Pick 6. We're gonna pick 6 things that I can dive in on the film. We'll talk about them on Wednesday. You know where to find us. My man Ahmed Fareed will be here on Wednesday.
I will.
And we'll break it all down. Enjoy the doubleheader Monday night games. I know I will. I'm going to be having fun. Peace out to everybody out there. We'll see you Wednesday getting ready for week 4 in the NFL. Peace out, homies. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.